While most people on the airplane endure cramped seats and long flights, there are other passengers who take showers, sleep in real beds, and eat 5-star meals while in the air. And what's even more surprising is that there are now commercial airplanes with private rooms, their own showers, double beds, and even a personal butler inside the aircraft. It may be surprising, but that's the truth. There are wealthy passengers who are willing to spend for comfort. That's why there are airlines that spent billions of dollars to make the inside of their airplanes look like a luxury hotel. But even so, although it's very expensive to fly on these kinds of planes, that's okay, because in this video, I will show you the inside of those airplanes, and I'll also include what life is like for passengers when they ride these kinds of airplanes. From the private suites of Singapore Airlines and Emirates to the flying apartment of Etihad Airlines. But before we start the discussion, I would like to ask you for a like and please subscribe to our channel as well. This is already a huge help for us content creators, so let's get started. Number 10, the residence of Etihad Airways. This is not just a simple first-class seat. It's actually a small private apartment inside the Airbus A380. You can find this at the very front part of the upper deck of the plane. And as soon as you enter, it doesn't even feel like you're on an airplane. It has its own living room, a leather sofa, a large television, and the bedroom is even separate. The bed here isn't a foldable seat. It's a real double bed. The entire suite also has its own door, so no one else can see inside. According to the airline, each passenger even has a personal butler, and these butlers are specially trained at the famous Savoy Hotel in London. While other people are waiting for free water in economy class, here you have someone you can ask to prepare your bed, serve food at any time, or even get the shower room ready for you. Yes, there's a shower. There are airplanes now that have real showers inside, and according to reports, some flights on the residence can cost over $20,000, depending on the route and season. Sometimes this even includes a private chauffeur to the airport, your own check-in area, and a personal escort all the way to the aircraft. Because of the extreme level of luxury, many aviation experts say this is the closest thing to a flying hotel room. And right now, almost no commercial airline can match this setup. Number 9, Emirates First Class. If there's an airline that has become a symbol of luxury air travel around the world, Emirates is one of them, especially their first-class cabin on the Airbus A380. Yes, just like number 10, it's also an Airbus A380. For those who don't know, the Airbus A380 is one of the largest passenger aircraft in the world. Let's go back. Inside this aircraft, each passenger has their own enclosed suite with a sliding door for privacy, a mini bar, a large entertainment screen, and the seat can convert into a fully flat bed, so it's like you're sleeping in a real room. The cabin design is filled with cream leather, wood finish, and gold accents that really show the whole experience is luxurious. But what really stands out for many people is the onboard bar. At the back of the upper deck, there's a dedicated bar area where first class and business class passengers can hang out. There's a bartender, cocktails, snacks, and you can stand up and relax while you're up in the air. It's like a small luxury bar placed inside the airplane, but their shower room is even more impressive than that. According to Emirates, they are one of the first airlines in the world to put a full shower spa in a commercial aircraft. There are 2 shower suites located at the front section of the plane, and these are exclusively for first-class passengers. It has a heated floor, a large mirror, and running hot water while the plane is almost 40,000 feet in the air. Just imagine that you're taking a shower while flying, and because the engineering behind this is so complex, it's very difficult to install this kind of system inside an aircraft. The water needs to be controlled, the pressure system needs to be stable, and every additional piece of equipment on the plane affects its weight and fuel consumption. That's why airlines can't just easily provide this kind of luxury, but they do it because there's a huge amount of money involved in ultra-luxury travel. There are passengers who are willing to spend a huge amount just to be extremely comfortable on a long flight. And in the world of aviation today, it's not just about having the most passengers, it's also about offering the most luxurious experience in the skies. Number 8, suite class of Singapore Airlines. There are airlines that try to make the journey comfortable, but Singapore Airlines seems to be aiming for a whole different level. On their Airbus A380, they don't just call their most expensive cabin first class, they call it suites. And there's a reason for that. Because when you enter here, it doesn't look like an airplane seat. It really feels like a private room. There's a sliding door. There are high walls so you can barely see any other passengers. And instead of this, a seat that turns into a bed, the armchair and the bed are actually separate. There's a real bed that comes out from the side of the suite. There's a personal wardrobe. There are touchscreen controls for the lights, entertainment system, and window blinds. And according to the airline, the new version of the suites they released in 2017 is one of the most advanced luxury cabins in the entire aviation industry. The bed has branded linens and pillows. There are luxury skincare and perfume products in the amenity kit. And the food is prepared together with international chefs to ensure that the meal service feels like a fine dining restaurant. But the most unique feature here is for couples. In the middle part of the cabin, there are 2 adjacent suites that can be combined. With just one press, the divider between them goes down, and the 2 separate beds become a full-size double bed. In other words, a married couple or partners can sleep in a real bed while in midair. And according to many aviation analysts, this is one of the most unique features ever made by a commercial airline. Because before, only private jets had this kind of setup. But now you can experience this on a regular scheduled flight as long as you can afford the ticket. And according to reports, there are suite class flights that cost from $8,000 to $15,000 per person, depending on the route. But for the ultra-rich passengers, it's not just transportation. What they're paying for is the privacy, the quiet, and the experience that you can hardly get on an ordinary flight. That's why it's no surprise that Singapore Airlines is often among the airlines with the highest ratings in the world. Number 7, Qatar Airways Q Suite Business Class. This is the airline seat that changed the way the entire aviation industry looks at business class. Because before there was really a big gap between first class and business class. But when Qatar Airways launched the Q Suite in 2017, a lot of people started to ask, do we really still need first class? Because honestly, the Q Suite is already so luxurious, even though it's just business class. Each passenger has their own private suite with a sliding door, a fully flat bed, a large storage area, a dining table, and enough space so you don't feel cramped inside the airplane. But its most impressive feature is the middle section. There are 4 seats there that can be turned into a private dining room. You can lower the dividers between the 4 seats, and when you do that, it's like you have your own mini restaurant inside the aircraft. Friends or family can have dinner facing each other in the middle of the flight. And back then, almost no other airline had this kind of setup in business class. Because of this, many airlines were forced to upgrade their own business class products. Because they noticed that some passengers were switching to Qatar Airways since they said the experience offered better value. According to aviation industry reports, the Q Suite also won various international awards after it was launched. And until now, many airlines are still trying to catch up to the level of comfort and privacy that Qatar Airways has shown. The food here is also almost at first class level. There are multi-course meals, expensive wine, and champagne. And the service of the cabin crew is also attentive. But the most important achievement of the Q Suite is this. It proved that you don't need an extremely expensive first-class ticket to experience world-class luxury on a plane. And because of that, the competition in the premium air travel industry completely changed. Number 6, Le Premier of Air France. While other airlines want to look futuristic or high-tech, Air France takes a different approach. Here, it seems their goal is to make passengers feel like they're in a luxurious hotel in Paris while inside the plane. And that's exactly the concept of Le Premier. This is the most exclusive cabin of Air France. And on some of their Boeing 777 aircraft, there are only 4 suites in the entire first-class section. This means there are really very few people in the cabin. They don't use hard walls to separate each suite. It's just curtains. And according to the airline itself, that's intentional, so it feels softer and quieter inside. It's more like a private room than an enclosed box. As soon as the passenger sits down, they're addressed by their name. They have their own pajamas. There are slippers. And as the flight goes on, the lighting in the cabin is gradually adjusted depending on the time of the country you're going to. When it's sleeping hours at your destination, the cabin will also be dimmed, so your body can sleep more easily. As you get closer to landing, the lights will gradually brighten again. It's like they're helping your body adjust even before you arrive. But what La Première is really famous for is the food, because in France, fine dining and luxury hospitality are a big part of their culture. That's why, according to the airline, they partner with Michelin star chefs to create their in-flight menus. This isn't just simple airplane food, it's really like a fine dining restaurant. The food is served course by course. There's separate bread, there's wine pairing, and there are different French cheeses that are sometimes served using a rolling cart, just like in high-end restaurants in Paris. Even their champagne comes from well-known luxury brands. And even before the flight starts, first-class passengers already have access to the La Première Lounge at Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport. And according to travel reviews, its quality is more like a private members club than an airport lounge. There's a restaurant, a spa, private rooms, and it's quiet. And it's a far cry from the normal airport experience that most people know. So for Air France, passengers aren't just paying for the trip. They're paying for the whole atmosphere from the airport all the way to landing. Number 5, the Suite First Class of All Nippon Airways, or ANA. If there's an airline known for being extremely clean, quiet, and having excellent service, ANA of Japan is definitely one of them. And you can see that in their first-class product called the Suite. It's not flashy. There's no excessive gold design. There's no overwhelming lighting. But that's exactly the reason why many people admire it. Because the luxury here isn't about showing off. It's about comfort and tranquility. Inside the suite, there's a sliding door to make your space private. There's a large seat that turns into a fully flat bed. There's a separate small chair and a dining table. And the whole design is like a modern Japanese hotel room. Simple, looks peaceful, but it feels extremely premium. Dark wood finishes, clean lines, and no cluttered design. Even their food is something else. There are options for Western meals. But what they're really known for here is the traditional Japanese dining experience. This includes various small dishes that are carefully presented. Seasonal sashimi, wagyu beef, steamed rice, and other Japanese dishes that, according to many travel analysts, are among the best in-flight dining experiences in the entire aviation industry. And in Japan, they have a concept called omotenashi. This means hospitality. It's something that's done willingly from the heart, without waiting for the guest to ask for help. And that's exactly the style of service at ANA. The crew is quiet. They're not intrusive. But it's like they already know what you need before you even say anything. They even think about the smallest details. From the pajamas made of soft Japanese cotton to the bedding and headphones used in the cabin. And even before the flight, passengers have access to ANA's Suite Lounge at Tokyo Haneda Airport. There's fresh ramen. There are soba noodles. There's a sake bar. And made-to-order meals instead of just a simple buffet. In short, ANA is not trying to be the flashiest airline in the world. Their goal is to make the whole trip quiet, comfortable, and stress-free. And for many frequent flyers, that's what real luxury. Number 4, Cathay Pacific's first class. While other airlines show off with gold interiors, expensive lighting, and tons of features, Cathay Pacific has a different philosophy. For them, luxury doesn't have to be flashy. You don't need a lot of gimmicks to feel that your trip is premium. Sometimes a quiet cabin, spacious personal space, a comfortable bed, and good service are enough. And that's exactly the reason why many frequent flyers admire Cathay Pacific's first class so much. Inside their Boeing 777 aircraft, there are only 6 first-class suites. Each one is spaced far apart, so it doesn't feel cramped. There's a spacious armchair that turns into a fully flat bed. There's a large entertainment screen, and the entire cabin has a simple design. Dark colors, metal finishes, it looks quiet, and there are no excessive decorations. But that's where the elegance of their setup comes out. It's like a modern luxury hotel in Hong Kong. This isn't the kind of luxury that wants to make you stand out on social media. This is the kind of luxury that just wants to quiet you down and calm you while you're relaxing. And that's also the style of their service. They're not too loud or overly talkative, but the cabin crew is very attentive. They immediately notice when your drink is finished. They remember what kind of water or drink you like after you tell them just once. And they know how to sense if you want to have a conversation or if you just want to be alone. Even when converting the seat into a bed, they do it carefully. When the passenger is in the restroom, they are the ones who fix the bed. When you return, the bed is already made. The duvet is ready. The lights in the cabin are dimmed. And you didn't even see the process. It's simple, but it feels very premium. Even their food is well known in the aviation industry. They partner with respected restaurants and chefs to combine Asian and Western flavors in their menu. And according to many travel reviews, the dim sum served on some flights from Hong Kong is one of the best airline meals in the world. They're not trying to show off. They don't need to do that. Because for Cathay Pacific, true luxury is space, silence, and comfort. Number 3, first class at the private terminal of Lufthansa. Many airlines have luxury seats, but Lufthansa did something different. Instead of just improving the cabin, they also changed the entire airport experience. At Frankfurt Airport in Germany, Lufthansa built their own separate first-class terminal. And this is not just a simple lounge. This is truly a separate building just for first-class passengers. This means there are Lufthansa passengers who no longer have to mix with the regular airport crowd. When you arrive at the terminal, a personal assistant will immediately greet you. They will take care of check-in and your luggage. And after that, you can relax inside the building while waiting for your flight. There's a restaurant, a bar, and private rooms. And according to aviation reviews, the atmosphere inside is very quiet and exclusive. Even immigration and security checks are done there as well. So you no longer have to line up with hundreds of people at the main airport terminal. And when your flight is ready, this is where the experience becomes even more unique. Instead of walking to a crowded boarding gate, a luxury car will pick you up. Sometimes it's a Porsche, sometimes a Mercedes. After that, you'll be driven directly to the aircraft. As you pass through the airport tarmac, it feels like a scene from a movie. While other passengers are lining up at the boarding gate, you get off directly beside the airplane. And according to the Travel Industry Awards, this is one of the highest rated first-class ground experiences in the world. Because for Lufthansa, luxury doesn't start when you sit on the airplane. It starts the moment you arrive at the airport. And that's the reason why there are travelers who deliberately choose to pass through Frankfurt, even if it's not the fastest route, because they want to experience the full first-class terminal experience of Lufthansa. Number 2, Japan Airlines' JAL SkySuite First Class. Number 2, Japan Airlines' JAL SkySuite First Class. There are airlines that immediately showcase luxury through lighting, gold designs, and large features. But Japan Airlines is different. Quieter, simpler, more thoughtful. And that's what makes their first class, called JAL SkySuite, special. Japan Airlines also went through a severe crisis before. In 2010, it filed for bankruptcy protection after being buried in massive debt. But after restructuring, the airline made a comeback and once again became one of the most respected carriers in Asia. That's why their SkySuite is also like a symbol of the new JAL. It's not flashy, not boastful, but extremely refined. Inside the Boeing 777, there's a spacious first-class seat that turns into a fully flat bed. There are wood-style panels. There's soft leather. There's a privacy partition. There's a large personal screen. And there's bedding made to make your sleep more comfortable on long flights. It doesn't look like a party room in the sky. It looks more like a quiet Japanese private room. Clean, organized, and nothing feels visually cluttered. But the strongest part of Japan Airlines First Class is the food, especially the Japanese menu. Here you can see how serious Japan is when it comes to food and service. They don't just put food on a tray. The dishes are chosen depending on the season. During spring, the menu feels lighter and fresher. In summer, the food is colder and more refreshing. In autumn, mushrooms and warm flavors become more prominent. During winter, soups, root vegetables, and dishes that are filling and warm the body are more suitable. It's like they're not just feeding you. They tell the story of Japan's seasons with every plate. There's sashimi, rice, soup, and small dishes that are carefully arranged. Even the bowls and plates are chosen to match the color and appearance of the food. In other airlines, luxury is about how expensive the items are. On Japan Airlines, luxury is about how carefully every detail is chosen. And just like with ANA, the idea of omotenashi is very strong here. It means you're not just simply being served. They take good care of you even before you ask for help. If you need water, they'll notice. If you want to rest, they won't disturb you. If your bed needs to be fixed, they'll do it quietly and properly. That's why the service never feels intrusive. It's not like someone is always watching over you. It's more like everything is already arranged so you won't get stressed. And before the flight, there's also the Sakura First Class Lounge at Tokyo Haneda. Even there, you can already feel the style of gel. It doesn't have to be too loud. It doesn't have to be too flashy. The purpose just needs to be clear. Make the whole trip light, quiet, and orderly. Number 1. Why do airplanes now feel like hotels? A lot of people say that the golden age of flying was in the 1960s. They say that was the time of elegant clothing, steaks on airplanes, and passengers who looked like they were in an old movie. But if you look closely, the experience wasn't really that great for most people. Tickets were expensive, the engines were noisy, many people smoked in the cabin, there was no modern entertainment, and the comfort was far from what we have today. So if we're talking about luxury flying, there's a stronger argument that today is really the golden age. Now, there are airlines that have private apartments inside the airplane. There's a shower while you're above the clouds. There's a double bed on a commercial flight. There's a business class that's like first class. There's an airline that built its own terminal just for the most premium passengers. And there are Japanese carriers that turn the whole flight into something like fine dining and a private hotel room. It's not just about the seat anymore. The whole experience is what matters now. From the airport lounge, check-in, security, boarding, food, sleep, service, all the way until you get off at your destination. And the reason why airlines spend so much on these kinds of cabins is simple. They make a lot of profit from premium passengers. According to airline industry reports, business class and first class are playing a bigger role in the revenue of many airlines. There are fewer passengers at the front of the plane, but they pay much worse. That's why sometimes a few premium seats can bring in as much profit as many economy seats. Airlines don't do this just to be nice. They do this because it's a business. When they get loyal premium passengers, it greatly helps the entire airline operation. That's why the competition continues. Some airlines improve their beds. Some airlines make their privacy doors bigger. Some airlines make their food tastier. Some airlines improve their lounges. Some airlines make their service more discreet and personal. And as reviews, travel vloggers, and social media become more influential, passengers' expectations get higher. A first-class cabin that looked amazing just a few years ago can look outdated when a competitor releases a new product. That's why luxury aviation now feels like an arms race. But instead of weapons, the competition is about beds, privacy, food, showers, lounges, and service. And because of that, passengers who can afford it experience the most comfortable flying experience in the history of commercial aviation. Before, an airplane was just a simple vehicle to get to another country. But for the richest passengers today, the flight itself has become the destination.